All right, what's up guys? Adrian Conway here, and in this Brute Shoot, we're gonna talk about how you're fueling your body. Specifically, we got a question from within the community that was curious about how to balance like quality food intake, hard training, and then cheat meals or cheat days. Now, I've been doing CrossFit for 7 years now. I started back in 2011. I can tell you that when I got my level 1, it was really my first exposure to how to eat quality food and how to balance the intake of quantity and start to track that and measure it. My point is, it's been a long journey for me, right? I've gone from trying the paleo diet where I adhered to restricting myself from all, grains and legumes and dairy. And then I also balanced the zone diet, and I calculated my blocks and I weighed and measured constantly. And then I also had my macros tracked and measured out from the coaches at WAG to help me perform at a high level through the training for the CrossFit Games. And what that looked like in difference to the zone was definitely a higher carbohydrate, a little bit lower fat, in order to meet the expectations or the needs of my training. Through my long journey, what I've learned is that this pursuit is different for everybody, right? But I don't want to just leave you guys at that, so I'm going to offer my 2 cents on some ways to kind of go about applying this to your life specifically that could help almost anyone, no matter where you're at in your journey. So from the first step, my goal would be to have you taking in quality food, right? If you don't know what that looks like, stick to the basic of shopping around the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Avoid added sugar as much as you can, and really think about sticking to a lot of essentially meats and veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar, right? Coach Glassman educated us all on that years ago when he described fitness in 100 words. So that's gonna take care of your quality. Think about staying along those lines. When it comes to quantity, you wanna take in as much food as you possibly can while still either sustaining the body fat ratio that you currently have, or still to be losing, and for you, gaining lean body mass and also losing body fat. And for each person, it's gonna look a little different. What you have to do though in order to know that is track it. So whether you're using an app on your phone or you're weighing and measuring it with a scale and writing it down in a journal, you need to be tracking your food to some degree, right? When you guys start to do that and you're doing that 100% of the time for like 30 days straight, and I mean this, you got to have a strong sense of compliance, right? Like dive in, all in, and try to be the best you can for about that time frame. That's gonna allow you to get to know your body, get to know how the changes are taking place, and also give you a baseline, right? After you establish that baseline of what this compliance looks like and feels like, now you can start to know, like, how does this look for your long-term goals, right? No one's gonna be able to stay 100% all the time, at least not for the long-term approach. So what does this look like? For me personally, what I started to do is I would give myself a cheat day, right? So that means 6 out of the 7 days a week, I was doing everything I needed to do. I was eating the quality of food, and I was also eating them in the macronutrients that I needed to in order to fuel my performance and recovery. I would often take Saturday as my cheat day. So what that would look like for me is I train hard all week, I get after it, I do my thing, and then Saturday morning I wake up, bust out my training session. After that training session, no holding back, I could eat whatever I want. I could go crush some donuts, I could eat some pizza, I could have a couple beers, I could have some brownies and some ice cream that night. I would usually eat enough junk that would make me feel sick enough that the rest of the week I wouldn't even want to look twice at the bad food, right? Now this isn't the way to go for everybody, and I'll tell you, the longer that I've eaten healthy, the less that one cheat day would set me back. But also, the longer that I started to build this confidence and started to make these check marks in the good food that I was putting into my body, the less I wanted to just amass this volume of bad decisions into a 24-hour period. So what I started to do is I started to amass and change to going from a cheat day to 2 cheat meals a week. And so this allocated my time window of a much smaller time, about an hour and a half of eating whatever I wanted, but it would only happen at 2 different meals of the week. And sometimes that would be on a Friday night, sometimes that might even be on a Sunday afternoon. That is up to you. But what I want to give you guys is an opportunity to at least set a schedule, right? Have some goals, have an idea of what you want to consume nutritionally, and find yourself and where it's going to fit compliance-wise, right? Get after it for a month, track, and be diligent. And then start to find balance of where you can make decisions on giving yourself some freedom so that it's allowing yourself something that you can continue to sustain over the long term. The more right decisions you make, the less the bad decisions will set you back, right? The longer you've been in the game making the good decisions, the less you're gonna notice the water bloating and the negative side effects of eating something in moderation that you normally would respond bad to. And then you can kind of go from there. So for me, it went from a cheat day, 24 hours getting after it, to some cheat meals. And nowadays I find a great balance of knowing what quality food looks like and some non-so-quality food, and finding a day-to-day balance for me personally. So it's a very individual-based approach. You guys got to make the decision of where your goals are versus where you're at currently, and then get after it. Make sure you meet yourself where you're at and set yourself up for long-term success.